Since mid to late 2020, people across the United States en masse have been packing up and moving to the state of Florida for one reason and one reason only. Governor Ron DeSantis and his wife Casey. They can't be defeated by politics because they tell the truth. They tell it in unvarnished terms that normal folks like you and I can understand. And when people cook up half lies and half truths, they know how to go out and get in front of cameras and put these people in their place. And that's what's happening right now. The Democrat Party failed so miserably in the state of Florida that what they've had to do is take people, re-register them as Republicans, and try to infiltrate the Republican Party in an attempt to take down the DeSantises. That's what's happening right now. It is one of the most fascinating things to watch, and they're still losing. Now, I have a couple of different topics, very important to Floridians right now, that I'm going to cover in this video, and it's going to show something. That it's really tied to a larger group of people all around the country who think that everything revolves around them. First, though, as always, gratitude. I think it's very important for no matter what's going on in our lives that we find time to express gratitude for what we have. I'm very thankful to live in the state of Florida. I'm very thankful for Governor Ron DeSantis and his wife and their honesty and their forthrightness. I'm also very thankful for people that have stepped up at my Patreon channel and have said, Florida Maquis, we see what's happening. A lot of our favorite channels have left YouTube completely. Sometimes now they only post once or twice a month, but you almost still do every single day. We'd love to see you continue, and that's why we're going to support you at Patreon. Thank you guys so much. I very much appreciate it. There's 4 levels over there, 2, 5, 10, and 15 a month. All the links are in the description box right below this video. If you go over there, kick the tires. It's not for you. It's the middle of May now. Middle of June, middle of July. Middle of August you would have to decide whether you want to stick around full time. But if by then it's not for you or there's some issue that pops up, full refund. No questions asked. Hundreds and hundreds of videos going all the way back to way before COVID, actually. So love to have you over there. But let's get right to it. Let's get to what this is about. This guy named Alex Andrade. He's technically a Republican in name only in Florida. And, pardon the cough, by the way. And now he's trying to attack Governor DeSantis for something that he alleges he said that he didn't say. Alex Andrade, Governor Ron DeSantis, answers only to his donors. He couldn't care less about grieving Floridians who've suffered the worst nightmares imaginable. Veto coming, Governor Ron DeSantis says he'll kill the free kill bill to stop jackpot justice, adult children plaintiffs from winning the lottery in medical malpractice cases. Now let's listen to what was actually said. You ready? Listen to this.
Unity between you two as you have criticized the House and negotiations continue.
I've been very passionate about the fluoride issue. I think that has traditionally been done.
If there's a death?
No, because it would cause malpractice insurance premiums to skyrocket. The folks that we talked to universally said that. And the thing is, you can sue, right? That's a misnomer. You can sue for economic damages. What they want to do is to sue for non-economic damages. What that is going to do is that's going to lead to a flood of lawsuits against practitioners and against hospitals. Malpractice premiums are going to go up. It's going to be harder to recruit physicians into Florida, and ultimately healthcare costs will go up. What I suggested that was done, and I know there was some support of it in the Senate, is that if you had caps on the amount of damages people could seek, that would disincentivize a lot of jackpot justice. And so if you had situations, you already can do economic damages, then you would be able to do non-economic, but you would not be able to kind of hit the lottery. You would be able to potentially get within the realm. And so that, I think, is what's missing. And, we've spoken with a lot of folks in the healthcare, hospitals, physicians. It was pretty overwhelming in terms of the concern, that they had on it. If there were caps on that, then it'd probably be something that people would be able to live with. But when Governor Charles signed the reforms back in the early 90s, because this undoes what Governor Charles signed back in the early 90s, we had massive malpractice insurance crisis in Florida, and we still have very high premiums for malpractice insurance. Part of it is, we've had a lot of litigation over the years. We did have caps that were put in that the old liberal Supreme Court said were not constitutional. I don't think that was the right decision, and I don't think this current court, would reach the same conclusion. But that was done because they were dealing with a crisis. And I understand, obviously, and as somebody who respects physicians, I also lived through COVID, and I understand that they get things wrong. So I'm not opposed to holding them accountable for medical malpractice. To the contrary, I think you need to do that. And I know there have been people that have been victimized, had family members, and it's a really, really sad thing. But I also know you have to look at the global view. What is it going to do for the overall access to care, prices, the willingness of physicians to come here? And that was very clear to me in speaking with folks. Yes.
Okay, so in a nutshell, what was said is that this idea of getting a hangnail and suing for $25 million because you had a hangnail get infected is not something that would be good long term for the state. This is playing politics with what was just said. You see, they don't mention in here that you can actually sue for malpractice. Nothing that's being done right now is stopping your ability to sue for economic damages for medical malpractice. It's this non-economic damages that the governor's saying we just can't let that run wild. Why? Because that'll make insurance rates go up. Speaking of which, taxes and insurance are the two biggest things right now that Floridians are worried about. And here you go. Here's Devonta Davis, hint, hint. Devonta Davis. Tampa Bay property taxes soared 23%, highest increase among major U.S. metros. And some people are like, but wait, didn't the governor say he was getting rid of property taxes? He can't do that unilaterally. That has to go through Congress, our state Congress. So that's a problem. But listen to this, okay? The very first commenter on this over on X says this: can someone please explain to me all the hand-wringing about this? This person owns property in literally every state in the union and says the Tampa house that he's living in now is the newest of the occupied residences, and the property taxes that he pays per dollar of valuation aren't even close to the highest that he has in his portfolio. Meaning that he has a global view of taxes paid on properties that he owns all over the country, and he says when you compare Tampa to anywhere else, it's not even in the top 10 or top 20 for being that bad. But to people who have just lived in Florida their whole lives and don't know how bad it is other places, they're throwing temper tantrums about this because they're so used to things being so good all the time. And that's where we get our connection to the First Lady. This thing that she's done over the last 3 to 4 years, this Hope Florida, has really pissed a lot of people off. There's people out there who want a never-ending, non-stop government check every month to do nothing. They don't want to hand up. They don't want to help out. They don't want actual help to being self-sufficient. They want government to pay for everything. They want to sit on their ass. Well, of course, after they go and get their hair done and get their nails done and get their toes done and get their wigs and their weaves, they then want to go sit on their ass and do nothing all day and pay for it with taxpayer money. Don't believe me? Squad demands $14 trillion in federal reparations for descendants of slaves. There's a group of people out there that just want never-ending amounts of money to go from one group of people in this country to another group of people in this country, and nothing but that. Ad on infinitum. See, Hope Florida took millions of people off of government assistance and showed them how to go get jobs and make money and support themselves. You see, that was bad news for a certain group of people in this country. Very bad news. That's why you see a national effort to try to stop Casey DeSantis from becoming governor. Because she would continue that and then take it national. It's Doge on steroids. People who can work should work. See, but they want to blame Europeans for this. This is why they want their $14 trillion when they forget that it was actually the Muslims that enslaved the Europeans. Don't believe that? Look it up. It's where the term SLAV comes from. Slavic peoples. They were the original slaves. Enslaved by these people. Yes, that's right. The ones Trump is glad-handing with. The terrorists. The people primarily responsible for giving safe haven to those who committed the atrocities in Israel in October of 23. President Trump secures $1.2 trillion economic commitment with Qatar, the original slavers, the people who gave safe haven to Hamas. You see, it's called moving the goalposts or raising the bar. See, no matter how much good has been done, and I've done hundreds of videos on this, no matter how much good has been done by the DeSantises in the last 5 to 6 years, people will still find a way to say, well, what about this? And what about that? And what about this other? Primarily saying, well, gosh, things are more expensive, and why can't we have unlimited weed for everybody? Because those are wrong choices. You say you want capitalism. Well, when there's an increased demand for something, the price of it goes up. And right now there's an increased demand for living in the state of Florida. That's why taxes are going up. That's why, or how much you pay in taxes, not the taxes themselves. That's why the cost of everything is so much more. I don't even own a guitar. I've had to sell a great many things just to survive the censorship and the increased costs. So, those of you who are wanting music or anything like that, I'm sorry. Don't own a single piece of musical equipment whatsoever. I had to sell it all, amongst many other things, to keep my home. I don't blame the DeSantises for this. I'm sure there's lots of cheaper places to live in the shithole north. Chicago, Detroit, Philly, St. Louis. Never leaving Florida. I don't care if it got down to where I had to live in a tent, in a campground. Still not leaving Florida. So just saying. I think people need to pay attention and be thankful. And I am. I'm very, very thankful for everyone who has stepped in and kept this going. So once again, God bless. Pray for each other. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. Lift each other up. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.